Good morning, readers. Today we're going to talk about thought prompts. Go ahead and fill in your reading, learning, intention sheet. Today as a reader, I am working on using prompts as I discuss what I've learned. Readers, here are some prompts that might help you as you are discussing your notes. So if you look at them, they might sound familiar from some of the ones that we used when we were talking about fiction books. However, these are for nonfiction reading. So I used to think, but now I realize. At one point I thought, and now I think, my ideas about blank are complicated. That one sounds really familiar. On the one hand I think, while on the other hand I think. This one right here reminds me of our essay unit. Readers, this next set are questions that you can ask when discussing your notes. Does that remind you of anything you've already learned? What might be the result of blank? What might that lead to? What do you think caused blank? And finally, here's another set of thought prompts that you can use when discussing your notes. That fits with what I'm learning because that was different from what I read because what you just said is making me realize now I'm starting to have a new idea. This is helping me to understand why. This connects to what I learned in social studies because, and now I'm wondering. So you'll notice that these top prompts are things that you might say when you're beginning to discuss your notes. These might be questions, the second set might be questions that you ask as people are talking about their notes. And this final set might be a set of things that you respond with after you've discussed your notes for a while. Readers, we're going to practice this together before you go off and do this with a few group members. So our steps when we're doing this are to read our notes, and then we are going to think about what we've learned from those notes, and then we're going to use thought prompts to discuss them with our group. So I have a copy of my notes, and I'm going to do the first step, which is read them. The first one says, many people came to America for a better life. They heard rumors that streets were paved in gold and candy fell from the sky. They came looking for better pay, and they came because land was cheap. And I'm thinking what I've learned from that note, and it's that sometimes people came for realistic reasons or things that were real here, like land was cheap. And sometimes people came to America with ideas that weren't real, like the streets are not paved with gold and candy does not fall from the sky. So that's what I'm learning from that. And now I'm going to use a thought prompt to discuss this. So I'm looking at this second one right here, and it says, at one point I thought, and now I think. So at one point I thought that people coming to America had realistic ideas about what America was like. But now I know that not everyone did. They thought that streets were paved with gold or that candy fell from the sky. So they had a lot of hope and they had a lot of dreams, but they weren't always rooted in reality. All right, now it's going to be your turn with this next note. And that says that families did not always come together. An older brother or father would come first. They would look for a job, then send money back to their family so they could join them in America. Families were often separated for at least a year. I want you to look through these thought prompts and think which one you might use to talk about this note. Give me a thumb up when you have an idea. Go ahead and share this with your partner now. Readers, today you are going to read your notes, and that's going to be your very first step. Then you are going to think about what you learned, and finally you're going to use your thought prompts to discuss with a group. You will meet with your group for about 10 or 15 minutes discussing the notes that you have taken. Let's make it a great reading day.